Hi, welcome back to the lecture series on linear maps. It is the third lecture in the series. In the last lecture, we have discussed about one important subspace related to linear map, null space. Okay, in that lecture, we introduced the definition of null space and give one or two examples. In this present lecture, we will give more examples and more theorems related to that very important subspace called null space, and introduce one another subspace related to linear maps, range space, and we will give some examples and theorems related to range space also. Okay, so once again, welcome to the lecture series on linear map. I have defined null space as for t element of L of v comma w, the null space of t, its notation is null of t, is a subset of v consisting of those vectors of t maps into 0. Okay, so actually null space of t means set of all v element of v such that t of v equal to 0. So this is a null space of t, set of all elements in the vector space capital V such that whose image is equal to 0. I have given two examples of null space. Here we consider another example. Consider t element of L of PR comma PR. Means t is a linear map from polynomials to polynomial, and t is defined by t of px equal to x square into px. That means multiplication by x square. We already proved that it is a linear map. We have to find the null space corresponding to this particular linear map. Then null space of t means set of all polynomials in PR such that t of px equal to 0, means x square into p of x equal to 0. Okay, but the only polynomial p such that x square into px equal to 0 is the 0 polynomial. Okay, the only polynomial p such that x square into px equal to 0 is 0 polynomial. So null space of t contains only the 0 polynomial. Hence we can write null space of t equal to set at 0. Okay. Another example is, suppose t element of L of f infinity comma f infinity. Okay. The operator is backward shift operator, or the linear map is a backward shift operator, means t of x1, x2, etc. equal to x2, x3, etc. Okay, this is the working rule of backward shift operator. Backward shift operator. Okay, we have to find null space of t. By definition, null space of t means set of all elements in f infinity such that t of v equal to 0. Means t of v means x2, x3, etc. equal to 0. Okay, so x2, x3, etc. equal to 0 is possible only when x2 equal to x3 equal to etc. equal to 0. Hence, so definitely if a vector belongs to null space, definitely its components x2, x3, etc. all must be equal to 0. Okay, so x1 can take any value. Okay, hence null space of t equal to set of all A00, where A element of F. Okay, if we compute T of A00, T of A00, this will be equal to 0, 0, 0, etc. Hence, all the elements of the form A00, etc. will lie on null space of T. Okay. So, next result shows that null space of each linear map is a subspace of the domain. Okay. In particular, 0 is in the null space of every linear map. Actually, already we proved that 0 is in the null space corresponding to every linear map. That is, T of 0 equal to 0 is true always. Every linear map must map 0 vector in the domain into the 0 vector in the codomain space. Okay. The next very important theorem is the null space of a linear map is a subspace. Consider T element of L of V comma W, then null space of T is a subspace of V. Okay, here T is a linear map. Okay, here T is a linear map. Okay, hence T of 0 is always equal to 0. So definitely 0 vector belongs to null space of T. Okay, to prove that it's a subspace, we have to prove addition is closed and the scalar multiplication is closed. To check addition is closed, take two arbitrary vectors u and v in from null space of T. Okay, we have to show u plus v. We have to prove u plus v belongs to null space of T. Then only we can say that addition is closed. Check T of u plus v. Since T is a linear map, this will equal to Tu plus Tv. Since u and v belongs to null space, this equal to 0, 0. So u plus v mapped into 0 vector. So definitely u plus v belongs to null space of T. So null space of T is closed. So null space of T is closed under addition. Okay. So next we have to prove that null space is closed under scalar multiplication. To check, we take an arbitrary vector u from null space of T and take a scalar lambda from capital F, scalar field. You have to prove that lambda u is also belongs to null space of T. We have to check this. Okay. So we have to compute T of lambda u. Since T is a linear map, this will equal to lambda into Tu. Since u is in null space, Tu must equal to 0. So lambda into 0 equal to 0. So T of lambda u equal to 0, which means that lambda u belongs to null space of T. Hence, this null space of T is closed under scalar multiplication. Okay. So we have proved that null space is a subspace of a vector space V. We have already it's a standard result that to prove a subspace is a set is a subspace, it is enough to show that 0 vector belongs to that set and it is closed under addition and scalar multiplication. In this case, we have shown all this condition: 0 vector belongs to null space and closed under addition and scalar multiplication. Okay. Next, a definition: injective. A function t from v to w is called injective if tu equal to tv implies u equal to v. This is the definition of injective. Okay. Some mathematicians use the term one-to-one, okay, instead of the term injective. Okay, consider the definition once again. A map is said to be injective if Tu equal to Tv implies U equal to V. Okay. This definition could be rephrased in another way that T is injective if U not equal to V implies TU not equal to TV. In other words, we can say that a map is injective if it maps distinct input to distinct outputs, because whenever U not equal to V, its image will be different. Okay, so which means distinct element does not map into same element. Okay, so a map is injective if T equal to TV plus U equal to V. Okay. Actually, the injectivity is equivalent to null space equal to set 0. We can prove that instead of checking a linear map is injective, it is enough to show that the null space of that particular transformation is set to 0. Okay. So consider, so it's an equivalent statement. It means it's injective equivalent to null space of T equal to 0. So suppose T is injective. Suppose T is an injective. Okay. We have to prove that. Okay. We have to prove that. That's our question. We have to show that the null space of T equal to set 0. To prove two sets are equal, it is enough to show that null space of T subset of set 0 and set 0 subset of null space of T. Then we can conclude that null space of T equal to set 0. Okay. Clearly set 0 is subset of null space of T, because always 0 vector maps into 0. So definitely 0 vector belongs to null space of T. Okay, for any transformation 0 belongs to null space of T. So hence set 0 subset of null space of T. We have to prove the converse, means null space of T subset of set 0. Okay, that's our next consideration. Null space of T subset of set 0. This is a question. Okay. To prove that null space of T is subset of set 0, take an arbitrary element V from null space of T. We have to show that this V equal to 0. Then we can conclude that null space of T is subset of set 0. Hence null space of T equal to set 0. That's the idea. Since V element of null space of T, we have TV equal to 0. And always 0 equal to T of 0. Okay. Since T is injective, we assume that T is injective. Here we got TV equal to T0. By applying the definition of injectivity, TV equal to T0 implies V equal to 0. So the arbitrary element taken from the null space of T become 0. Hence we can conclude that null space of T is always subset of set 0. Okay, so we proved that null space of T is subset of set 0. Equation number 2. By combining 1 and 2, we can say null space of T equal to set 0. So we proved the first part, means first half is over. We showed that whenever T is injective, null space of T equal to 0. We have to prove the converse part. Converse part means whenever null space of T equal to set 0, it is injective. Okay. So suppose null space of T equal to set 0. We want to prove that, we have to prove that this T is injective. Injective means we have to show that whenever TU equal to TV, actually, so it is to prove that TU equal to TV implies U equal to V. Okay. So assume TU equal to TV for arbitrary element U and V. Since TU equal to TV, we could return as 0 equal to TU minus TV. Since T is linear, this is equal to T of U minus V. Now we get T of U minus V equal to 0, which means that U minus V belongs to null space of T. u minus v belongs to null space of T. But already we assumed that null space of T equal to set 0. Hence this u minus v must be equal to 0, which implies u equal to v. Hence we have showed that whenever Tu equal to Tv always implies u equal to v. Hence T is injective. So we put both part. Hence we can conclude that it's an equivalent condition, means whenever T is a linear map from V to W, T is injective is if and only if null space of T equal to set 0. Okay. Next definition is range. For T, a function from V to W, the range of T is a subset of W. T is a map from V to W. Okay. Range is a subset of W consisting of those vectors that are of the form TV for some V element of V. Okay. That's it. Range of T equal to set of all TV such that V element of V. Okay. If you say a W element of range of T, suppose if you say W1 belongs to range of T, assume, which means that there exists a V1 in capital V such that T of V1 equal to W1. Okay, that's the idea of range. Okay, hence the definition is like is a range of T is a subset of W considering those vectors that are of the form TV for some V element of V. Here W1 is in the set of range set, then W1 is of the form TV1. Okay. We are going to consider some examples of range space. First example is T is a zero map. T is a zero map from V to W. Okay, means T of V is always equal to 0 for every vector small v in capital V. So there exists only one vector in the range space, that is the 0. So range of T equal to set 0. Okay. Consider next example. T element of L of R2 comma R3. Okay. The map is defined by T of xy equal to 2x comma 5y comma x plus y. Okay, the range of T by definition, so the range of T is set of all elements of the form 2x 5y x plus y where xy element of R. This is the range set of T. Okay, if you try to find the basis of this range, actually it is basis of range is 2, 0, 1 and 0, 5, 1. It's very easy to compute because 2x, this 2x 5y x plus y, this is the general form of elements in the range space. If I split the x and y separately, then we can write this is equal to 2x0 x plus 0 5y y. Take x outside, then it is equal to x of 201 y of 051. Okay, so elements in the range is a scalar or linear combination of 201 and 051. This 201 and 051 are linearly independent. Hence, we can say that this set 201, 051 is the basis of range space. Okay. Next, consider the example differentiation map. Differentiation map from PR to PR. PR means set of all polynomials from arbitrary position R to the same set. It's a differentiation map. The map is defined by d of p equal to P dash. Okay, because for every polynomial Q, okay, for if I actually the map is defined from PR to PR. Okay. Okay. For every polynomial Q, if I take any polynomial Q in the column space, there exists a polynomial P corresponding to this Q such that P dash equal to Q. Okay. So if you pick any polynomial from PR, there exists a polynomial in this domain such that this Q becomes the image of this P. Okay. So there always exists a P such that dP equal to Q. Hence range of D, hence this range of D is the whole space PR. Okay, clear. Next we are going to prove that this range space is a subspace. That's very important result. So we get two important subspaces. One is null space and another one is range space. The null space is related to domain and the range is related to codomain. Okay, we are going to prove that the range space is a subspace. Okay. To prove a set is a subset, it is enough to show that there exists 0 vector and it is closed under one is 0 element of range and the second one is closed under addition, third one is closed under scalar multiplication. Okay, these three things have to prove. Clearly 0 always belongs to range space because we have the result T of 0 equal to 0. Since T is a linear map, always T of 0 equal to 0. So definitely 0 has the pre-image. Okay. So 0 is of the form some vector T of V. Here V becomes 0. Okay. Anyway, 0 belongs to range space. So first one is already proved. Next we have to prove that it's closed under addition. For that, take two arbitrary elements W1, W2 from range space. Okay. Since W1 and W2 belongs to range space, there exist two vectors V1, V2. Okay. There exist two vectors V1, V2 in capital V such that T of V1 equal to W1 and T of V2 equal to W2. We have to show that W1 plus W2 belongs to range of T. That is our requirement. Okay, this is our requirement. W1 plus W2 belongs to range of T. Compute T of V1 plus V2. Since V1, V2 belongs to capital V and V is a vector space, definitely V1 plus V2 belongs to capital V. Compute T image of V1 plus V2. Since T is linear, this is equal to TV1 plus TV2. TV1 equal to W1, TV2 equal to W2. Hence, corresponding to W1 plus W2, there exists an element V1 plus V2 in the domain. Hence, we can say that W1 plus W2 belongs to range space. So, range set is closed under addition. So, second criteria is verified, closed under addition. Third condition is that we have to prove it's closed under scalar multiplication. That's very easy. Take an arbitrary element W from range and a scalar lambda element of F. Since W belongs to range of space, there always exists some V in capital V such that TB equal to W. Okay. Our aim is prove lambda W belongs to range. Okay, this is our requirement. Then we can say that it's closed under scalar multiplication. Compute since V element of capital V, V is a vector space, so scalar multiplication is closed. Hence, WV always belongs to capital V. Okay. Clearly lambda v belongs to capital V. Compute the T image of this lambda v. Okay. Since T is a linear map, this will equal to lambda into TV. Okay. This TV is equal to lambda v. TV equal to W. So we get T of lambda v equal to lambda W. Hence, we can say that corresponding to lambda W, there exists an element lambda v in capital V. Okay, such that T of lambda v equal to lambda W. So clearly, lambda W element of range set, which means its range set is closed under scalar multiplication. So third criteria is verified. So we can conclude that whenever T is a linear map from V to W, the range set T, range T is a subspace of W. So we get two important subspaces related to the linear map. One is null space and another one is range space. Both of them are very important. Okay. Next, a definition: surjective. A function T from V to W is called surjective if its range space equals W. Okay, so map is surjective if its range space equal to W. Consider an example: differentiation map D from P5R to P5R means set of all polynomials of degree up to 5. Okay, P5R consists set of all polynomials of degree at most 5. Okay, the map is defined by dP equal to P dash. Clearly, it is not surjective. Why? Consider a polynomial in the codomain space, for example, x raised to 5. Okay, this x raised to 5 is not in the range space because we cannot find a polynomial in P5 such that whose derivative become x raised to 5, because the degree of polynomial in P5R is maximum 5. So when you take the derivative, its degree become 4. So we cannot find a preimage of x raised to 5. So it's not surjective. Instead, for that, I consider a linear map S from P5R to P4R. Okay, the map is saying differentiation map SP equal to some P dash. Okay, clearly it is surjective because the degree of a polynomial in P4R is maximum 4. So when I take a polynomial, 5th degree polynomial, definitely we get the preimage. Okay, so it is not surjective. This is not subjective, but it is surjective. Okay, so you got the idea of surjective map. Okay, in this lecture we deal with some very important subspaces. Okay, subspaces in linear algebra. One is null space and another one is range space, and we already given one important theorem. A linear map is injective if and only if null space of T equal to set 0. Okay, thank you.